Going to Plan B. We went to Plan B. I got off my Wi-Fi. Part 3. If you don't know who we're listening to, one of my favorite bands who I've been pretty much listening to really hardcore for close to 8 months. Probably started listening to them 8 months ago, approximately. But I'd say I've been really into them for about the last 7 months. So the first stream that we ran was cashed out. You know, I'm hoping that I'm thinking we're going to get a little better connection right now. And we can get Bob back on. But as we're doing that, I'll put on the classic last game. I mean, and towards the end of the show, I'll kind of go over what kind of more or less went on through the bracket. What's up, Mike? How you doing, buddy? So right here, we got ourselves classic last playing out there in Texas. Not sure they might even be playing the championship game, but a lot of upsets. A lot of the major teams were actually in the losers bracket after a couple games. I was kind of shocked to see MPT, Resmondo. What's the other one? MPT, Resmondo was out in the losers bracket, as well as I don't remember, man. But hey, we're gonna go for it again. Third's a charm, you know, but I came up with the reinforcers, man. I went off of Wi-Fi, and usually my phone gets a good connection, so we'll see how it happens.
All right, buddy.
Are you seeing me all right, or am I frozen?
I can see you. It's freezing and moving, freezing and moving.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? There we go. You there? You good?
Yeah. I can hear you. Am I kind of frozen on your side?
That's a little better now.
Well, yeah, hopefully. So once again, I'm talking from Bob Obrien out there in Florida. Teams recently played with last year with I forgot Bakery, Superior Bakery. Oh my gosh, that's where I'm discombobulated.
Right,
Deluxe Bakery.
Fence Brokers.
Played with a couple years with FBI.
Yeah. Chris Walker.
So yeah, and currency the BPA team.
Right. Chris Walker's a good man. He sponsored softball teams for 16 years or so, and finally decided to spend a little more time with his family as well. So that was the end of the FBI. So, and as you know, Leroy, you got to have them good sponsors out there to keep teams together.
Yeah.
Have financial background.
Definitely, and obviously show the utmost respect and appreciation of those people who are actually able to sponsor us to enjoy the game that we love to do. You know, I have friends that water ski, snowboard, and they're doing it themselves. So to have somebody put out, you know, their hard-earned money to allow us to play a child's game, man, pretty fortunate. So take care of those guys.
Yeah. So I did play for Woody Bell. I said Willie Bell. Willie Bell was the sponsor of my co-ed team, and then Woody Bell was the sponsor, of course, of Belcourt. So I got to play a year of big-time softball, and then we had a couple boys, and my wife said it's either softball or your family, so I chose the family. So after raising, we turned 50 years old, and then I was able to start playing senior softball. And she's given me permission. Sometimes she questions me now why I still do it, but I enjoy it so much. And as you know, being a competitor, you got to have something to compete in your life, or you got nothing to look forward to when you get out of bed.
Yeah, I tell you, but I just think I've always told people ball players are just a special breed, man. We're like the mailman. We'll play in the rain, the sleet, the snow, 110-degree weather, 40-degree weather, just to get those games, get those competitive juices, man. And watching you play as well as many other players out there, I tend to connect with those guys really well because we just get each other, right?
You can tell the ones that have that specialness to them. We'll battle your ass off on the field, and then we'll shake your hand and pray with you after the game. And that's the great thing about senior softball.
So, playing the game again. Started playing at 50. Have you always been swinging Worth or is it Mikan? I know they combined, but was it Mikan or Worth when you first started playing?
It was Mikan at first. Alan Tanner saw me play somewhere along the line or got word about me, so I hooked up with Alan, and I've been swinging Mikan Worth ever since. So nice enough to have a group, that will supply me with the bats. And, there's a lot of great bats out there, but the only thing I've ever swung in senior softball is a Mikan or a Worth. And got a good product, just like everybody else. There's good stuff out there. So, we represent the brand. We go around and do whatever we can to get the word out for them, and then they take good care of us and give us the equipment we need to play the game. So that's what it's all about.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I always feel when it comes to bat, there's always that right bat, that right feel, and I always tell, don't necessarily limit yourself. Just go find that bat that works for you, and whether it's me, you, or anybody else, nothing personal. We're all ball players, and we're all superstitious. And we know how we get with our equipment and our bats. So obviously it's finding the one that we love, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I know the bat company's going strong these days. I see you guys are getting after it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. I've been pretty fortunate, just to kind of hang out with everybody and just be out there. But I think the biggest, the kind of humbling but kind of cool thing, and it's happened to me once, I got blew up by my own bat, so that's kind of I was playing second base out in the cold weather off the turf, and the ball just skipping blew me up. I'm like, dude, I got blown up by my own bat.
Good equipment.
Yeah, so I understand, I think it's great. You got a lot of videos on there on YouTube, which I'll be showing some a little later, but how long or what got you started doing the clinics and the camps to help a lot of the senior players kind of develop their swing and probably most likely enjoy the game a lot more?
I just retired from coaching baseball. I coached baseball for 30 years. I coached at the junior college level here in Florida for 23 years. So from playing college baseball to coaching baseball, I think I've got about over 900 wins in college baseball, which means there's probably about 600 losses in there somewhere too. So I've been in about 1,500 college baseball games.
Wow.
So 30 coaching and then doing some playing. Alan did a couple clinics here close to home here in Vero Beach and asked me if I would help him out. So I went out and helped him and really enjoyed it because the people that were coming to those clinics really wanted to learn, and they were eager to learn, and you could make a difference in their game in just a couple days by just putting them in the right position, teaching some of the basics that we learned a long time ago on the baseball field, and to see the smile on their face when they hit one pure, and split two outfielders and they get a double and they get all excited, or we teach them how to throw again. They haven't thrown in years, or they've been throwing with pain. So, we teach them some exercises and do some arm care stuff. And it's really nice to give back to it. So, I've been coaching for years, and it became a time where I could help some people out. So the clinics are great. We do clinics all over the country. We'll be going to we'll be going to Colorado Springs here again in June for our third trip there. We may be going up to Alberta, Canada. So we'll take our show on the road, as well as we do one or two of them down here in South Florida for people that want to come south and enjoy the good weather. So I have a good time sharing my knowledge of the game with people, only because they really appreciate it and they want to learn, and that's nice to have.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, I coach. Obviously, you coach, and when you have people wanting to learn and just absorb what you have to get, coaching is just it's a fabulous thing. So we had a little chat earlier today, and you kind of touched on a little bit, and those people actually watching today, what Bob and Alan does, which is pretty incredible, and this shows you how much they love the game. Basically, they let people set up the camp, and then you come to them, or can you kind of explain how you guys go from state to state doing what you guys do?
Yeah. For the first couple, they were coming here to Vero Beach. All right. So now they paid airfare, they paid for lodging, and then they paid a fee to be in the clinic. So a couple of them were brave enough to say, hey, what would it take for you to come to Alberta, Canada? and do this same 3-day camp for our people. And we said, well, if you can cover our expenses to get there, it's a lot easier for the 3 of us to travel than it is for the 30 of them to travel or the 50 of them to travel. So we've decided we would take our show on the road as long as they provided the balls and some of the equipment, so we didn't have to, pack the airplane with too much stuff. Some people agreed to say, all right, let's do that. So we set a weekend that we're all available, and we hop on an airplane. We go out on Friday morning. We'll do a half-day Friday, a full-day Saturday, a full-day Sunday, and then we'll come back on Monday. If our wives are fortunate enough to join us, they'll come along and get to see some different scenery than the flat land of Florida. So we are able to take the show on the road. So give us a call, and we'll set up a date and a time, and we can put something together.
I think that's awesome, man. I mean, are you like me? Like, if you could find people to hit every day, would you just hit every day?
I also do some private lessons still with baseball, and I'm also coaching a small private school here in Durham. In fact, I've got a game tomorrow morning that we just set up this afternoon because of the rain out. So, yes, I would. I'd go out and hit every day if I could. The sun is getting the best of me right now, Leroy. You can see I'm a little red today from a little bit of sunburn, but I'm trying to hide from the sun as much as I can these days, or else I would be out there every day hitting it or coaching it and teaching it.
Okay. No, yeah. So I guess going from the first part, a lot of people that go into softball, not everybody, but a majority, transition from hardball to slow pitch softball. And a lot of times when I deal with these young guys, I kind of say some of the things that you do with baseball, you might want to throw them out because obviously it's a different type of swing and stuff. So what kind of advice, or maybe somebody you've worked with transitioning from hardball to slow pitch, what are some of the things you kind of share with them?
The first one is that in softball, every pitch is hittable, all right, but not every pitch is drivable. As you know, Leroy, we could hit any pitch that's thrown up there in softball, all right? So that's the good news. So if you swing at a bad pitch in softball, you'll still hit it, but you can't do as much with a bad pitch as you can, with a strike in softball. In baseball, if you swing at a bad pitch, you tend to swing and miss. But in softball, we don't swing very often. So that's kind of good news and bad news that every pitch is hittable in softball. So the transition from baseball to softball, hitters tend to be real aggressive, and they get up there and they swing at anything. And they got to realize that you still got to wait for the right pitch. All right. The swing changes a little bit, in baseball. Of course, the time in baseball, you've got 0.3 of a second from release to when it hits the catcher's mitt to react. In softball, we've got anywhere between 1.2 seconds to 2 seconds from release to when it hits the board. So you've got to stay back. You got to be patient, wait on the ball, let it travel a little bit. All right. The strike zone is different. In baseball, the strike zone's from the knees to the belt. In softball, the strike zone, the balls we swing at are from the belt to the shoulders. So it's a whole nother swing plane. All right. In softball, we have to swing level. In baseball, we end up dropping the bat head. All right. Keep your hands up, drop your bat head. And we're hitting balls down around the knees. So the swing plane is a little bit different. Okay. The timing, of course, the size of the ball is a little bit different, all that good stuff. Baseball, you got to be quick. Softball, you got to wait. Failure, we don't fail. As baseball, you're going to fail 7 out of 10 times. You got to be able to handle failure. Whereas in softball, you're going to be successful 7 out of 10 times at our level. So a 700 hitter is good. Of course, we use the on-base percentage in softball. Any way you get on counts, whether it's a walk or an error, and that helps our numbers get a little bit higher as well. But yeah, the big thing is getting a good pitch to hit. And again, just because it's hittable doesn't mean you should swing at it in softball. You still got to be selective and hit strikes, hit good pitches. So that's a bunch of the differences. Again, the U-trip pitch is a little more similar to baseball, so the transition into from baseball to the U-trip guys, you know, they're getting a little bit flatter pitch, something that still has a little bit of velocity on it. But it's still a fun game. You know, a lot of the basics are there. You know, your grip is good, your stance is good. Running the bases is about the same. Playing defense, throwing the ball is about the same. So it's a nice transition from baseball to softball. And the coolest thing about it is, and I tell everybody, I tell my high school baseball players, there is life after baseball. Only 2% of high school baseball players get to play college, and then only 2% of the college guys get to play pro ball. So you know, and a lot of kids think it's the end of the world when their high school career ends and no college goes after them, or their college career ends and nobody signs them professionally. But the good thing is that there's still softball out there. There is life after baseball.
Yeah, you know, I always tell people, especially a lot of my old college buddies, you know, they used to kind of mock the underhand game, you know, and I tell them softball is the easiest, hardest thing to do at a consistent level.
I like it.
But, huh?
I like it.
Yeah. But, you know, for me, I tell them baseball was my drug of choice. No longer available. So softball is my, you know, the thing I can do to kind of handle my fix. And you could probably say that too. I've been doing it for years. I know you're still doing it at a high level at your age. So obviously, I like to think you probably echo those words too, right?
Yes. And then again, the competitor in us, I got to have a reason to get out of bed every day. I got to have a reason to get in the weight room. I got to have a reason to stretch and keep my flexibility going. I mean, and that's it. You know, I love to compete. I love playing the game. It's a game that we played when we were 5 years old, and we're still playing it at 55. Mm-hmm. And I get frustrated with the game of golf, so I'm going to stay on the softball pitch because that stupid golf doesn't bother me.
And golf, you know, people ask me, do you golf? And I say, yeah, not professionally, man. Golf, yeah. I'd rather hit balls off a tee than go golf, man. But
exactly.
So kind of you said something there, and I've said this to many people. I've been doing it since I obviously in college, transitioning to softball. Every year that I've ever played, there's something I always do before I play. I take a jog out to center field. I stretch my body. I keep it limber and loose. And I think people don't understand. As we get older, it's almost, I know at least for me, I got to stretch a little longer, do a couple little bit more exercises to keep that flexibility. Is that something you share during your clinics as well?
Yes, we had a clinic today. We had 60 guys down in Boca Raton. So Alan and I did a 9 to 3 clinic. And that's exactly what we said today. I told him, I said, there's so many things we can be doing while watching American Idol or while watching the basketball playoffs. All right. Instead of sitting there in your lazy boy, get on the floor and do some stretching. All right. Get on the floor and do some stretching. I also shared with him some of Dr. Job's rotator cuff exercises. Showed him how to get the 3-pound dumbbells out. That's a great time to do it, is at night in your living room while you're watching a ball game. You know, start hitting those rotators and do some arm strengthening stuff. And then there's also some dry drills that you can do. If you're learning something new, you know, if you're shortening your stride a little bit, or you're working on getting your back hip through, there's some dry drills that you can do at night in your house, okay? Of course, you don't want to be knocking over any lampshades or anything, but there's stuff you can be doing at night to help get your repetitions going. Because we tell everybody, if you learn something new, it takes 2,000 reps to get rid of a bad habit. And you just can't get 2,000 swings, you know, in batting practice on a field. You've got to find other ways to get those reps in. But there are some things that we can be doing, Leroy, at night. And flexibility is one of them, and some of those arm strengthening exercises are others. You know, you can do body squats and lunges, and you can do some things without expensive equipment that's going to help you be better on the weekends when it's time to play ball.
You know, man, Bob, you touched on two things that I mean, we both must coach, and, you know, I learned it as a kinesiology major as well, but I used to tell the same thing when I used to teach 2 PE classes, and I go, you know, man, you want to get better at push-ups and sit-ups? whatever your favorite show is, every commercial, get on the ground and do some push-ups and sit-ups and have something that makes you, some kind of enjoyment watching your show and then going down with that little rigor with the, or the, And that was funny you said that, because I said throughout college, that's when I did a lot of my working out at home, was during commercials.
Yeah.
Another one you touched on, but I'm going to go a little further than that. Another thing I tell people is before your mind accepts it as a sensory motor movement, it takes 10,000 repetitions on an average. And you threw out a different number, 2,000, to break a bad habit. So I actually like that. I got to remember that when I do some coaching.
Remember, that's what they say, 2,000 repetitions.
Yeah.
And just put a target out there. Of course, if it's a simple fix that you're trying to do, you could probably knock it out in maybe 500 reps. But until it becomes muscle memory, you got to do it over and over and over and over again, so your subconscious mind can do it, and you don't have to think about what you're doing.
Yes, yes. I mean, I've even told people, like, when you see these phenomenal athletes making these shoestring catches, behind the back throws and stuff, that's where that muscle memory, your subconscious mind just takes over and it just knows the target. And that's why these people do this. And I can't share enough how good, I mean, not just reps, but good, fundamentally solid reps, from swings to playing catch to fielding the ball. And maybe that's another thing. You capitalize on that? Because I tell people, when you're hitting BP, obviously not everybody throws the perfect strike, but when I'm taking a swing, I'm always working at least cutting the ball the way I like it. Is that something you share in your clinics as well?
Oh, exactly. I've had to do the Alan Tanner rule. The Alan Tanner rule is, Leroy, when I threw a pitch, I'm throwing BP to Alan, and I throw it up there, and he doesn't like it, he would tap it back to me. And, of course, I would say, what are you doing? That was a strike. And he'd say, no, it wasn't. I said, well, how do you know? We'll never know if it was a strike or not unless you let it land. So if pitch selection, hitting good pitches is a key. Tony Gwynn, one of your guys over there on that West Coast, Tony Gwynn was one of the best there ever was. And they asked Tony, what made you such a good hitter? And he said, I hit good pitches. That was as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
He hit good pitches. Of course, he had some incredible eye-hand coordination and all that good stuff. But when you take batting practice, put a board down, put a mat down, have something that simulates the board, 19 inches wide. I think it might be, 36 inches deep. Find you go to Home Depot and get you a front door mat and cut it into those dimensions. But put a plate down, a board down for the seniors. And when you don't like a pitch, let it land. Don't tap it back to the pitcher. Let it land so you can tell whether it was a ball or strike. Did I misjudge that pitch, or did I get it right? So I call it the Alan Tanner rule. I make him take pitches now, let it go to the backstop. We'll go to the backstop and get it. We'll throw it back to you so you can still hit it. But don't get used to hitting bad pitches.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So learn the strike zone and hit strikes. And then, of course, that last round that you take, maybe you say, all right, it's 2-strike round.
Yes.
Now I got 2 strikes on me. I can't be as picky. And that's when you start hitting some of those bad balls so you can protect a little bit better with 2 strikes. But most of your rounds should be hit strike, take ball.
Yes. I mean, a lot of my BP was sometimes it's good to find good pitching. And I tell a lot of guys, even when I did my streams, a lot of my BP, I'm always thinking 2 strikes. Because obviously, just like hardball, your zone goes from here and you open it up. Another thing, and I hope the young butts are out there really listening, I say the difference between a 750, 800 hitter consistently is probably a guy drawing, if you're getting 20, 25 at-bats, you're probably drawing about 5 or 6 walks in that tournament.
Yeah.
And I say it's always concept of the strike zone, no, balls and strikes. Because it's okay to walk, and at the level that we play, because sometimes they give me the business walking, and I say I have faith in all my teammates around me, and showing them that I have faith, I can't be selfish. I got to pass the stick and let them do the job if I'm getting the free pass, and obviously agree with that, right?
Yeah, as you know, at our level and, the good level, a walk counts as a hit, for one, all right? Number 2, especially in Vegas, Leroy, us East Coast guys, we struggle when we come to Vegas. We struggle keeping yard. That air is lighter there, and the
Mm-hmm.
ball kicks a lot farther in Vegas than it does over here on the East Coast, especially in Florida with all the humidity in the air,
Yeah.
knocking it down a little bit. So a walk is better than a solo home run.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And another person to the base, so maybe the guy behind you now, instead of you hitting a 2-run homer, now that you walked, now he's got a chance at a 3-run homer, and you start capitalizing on your home run limits, and you start hitting good home runs. My biggest pet peeve, though, Leroy, is the 3-1 pitch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What I would advise everybody to do is, and I mess around with it sometimes. On 3-1, I'll get up in the front of the box, I'll dip the bat and woggle and just try to throw the pitcher off a little bit. But
Different look.
yeah, but a lot of these good guys, they're going to hit that board. All right. And now I just went to a 3-2 count again, and the advantage just shifted back to the pitcher. So
Mm-hmm.
my advice is, there are some teams that have a unwritten rule that you don't swing at the 3-1 pitch. Don't swing at it. But as a pitcher, I'll tell you, Leroy, the only time I'm trying to hit the center of the board is on 3-1. It's the only
Mm-hmm.
time. All the other times I'm trying to come as close to the board as I can without hitting it,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the pitch for you to hit. I want you to hit the one that's in off the plate. I want you to hit the one that's a little bit deep or a little bit short, because they're harder to hit.
Mm-hmm.
So every other pitch, every other count, I'm trying to come as close to the board as I can without hitting it. Except on 3-1, I'm trying to hit the middle of the board, because I don't want to walk you. I want you to hit a solo, or I want you to have to keep it in the yard. I want you to split a gap and keep it in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you have that 3-1 take the pitch culture, you got to get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't mean you have to swing on 3-1, but at least be prepared to swing. So I'll catch myself sometimes when I fool around. I'll even pretend I'm punting on 3-1, just to try to throw the pitcher off so he throws me ball 4. But the older I get and the smarter I get, I think, look, I can take ball 4 from here just as much as I can if I'm up in the box and messing with the pitcher a little bit. So spot, stay ready to hit. And if he throws you a biscuit on 3-1, go ahead, get you a little base hit. If it's bad on 3-1, you take it and you draw your walk. So don't give up on that 3-1. Don't give the pitcher a chance to get 2 strikes, because we all know hitting with 2 strikes is more difficult than hitting with 1 strike on us, right?
Yeah, I've had many discussions about 3-1, and maybe just in my area or people I watch, but a majority of the time, I've seen people swing 3-1. They've gotten more outs than not. I mean, to me, I'm not opposed to the 3-1 swinger, but I think knowing some of my people I played with and stuff, so I see sometimes a lot of guys swing 3-1, and it's like you said, it's not that biscuit. I think it's a special hitter or a special pitch. Obviously, in the conference, in the major, the higher the level, I think you could trust these guys a little bit more. But I like the philosophy, looking ready to hit. I'd say more times than not in a 3-1, I do sometimes give the pitcher a different count, unless I know they're a special smart one like yourself or a Purcell who could throw it where they want on a dime. I think my approach is it kind of reflects the pitcher and how he's going. I'm watching it all.
Exactly. If he's wild, if he's walked 5 or 6 guys already today, or as you know, if it's windy out, people don't realize that the wind affects the pitch just as much as it affects the ball that's hit. All right. We're throwing balls up there and they're moving on us. They're moving a little bit more, especially when the wind's blowing out. People think that when the wind's blowing out, it's an advantage to the hitter. It really isn't. It's an advantage to a good pitcher, because the knuckleball dances more, the breaking ball moves more, because the wind is blowing towards the ball and it affects it a lot more. My church league spinner hangs just a little bit longer when the wind's blowing out. So I love pitching when the wind's blowing out. And then it also, now you've got to keep it in the yard, Leroy. So you take a little bit off your swing to keep it in the yard when nobody's on base. So I love it when the wind's blowing out. But you do have to know, as a hitter, sometimes that ball's going to move a little bit on you, and you have to be conscious of that as well. So if somebody's got 5 walks in the game, blowing, you may want to be a little more selective on 3-1, make him throw you a strike. I get it.
Uh-huh.
I get it.
Uh,
But
yeah, it's
walk
all
is a bad thing.
Yeah, I tell people I get the business a lot, man. That I tend to walk because I don't want to hit in certain situations, and I say, I normally bat fifth on my team, so I'm either batting behind a power hitter, another guy behind me's power, and I'm in a role. I tell them that I got to have even more trust in the guys that bat around me because I got the 4 and the 6 guy behind me. Well, here's another one. What's your thing about this? Because I know how you say it, and I tell people, knuckleballs are going to move, and sometimes we commit to an area of the ball, but then it moves, and that's when we kind of miss the ball. So I've worked with some guys that started playing softball, and they got that. I don't see it at the upper level, but that little, they shuffle up and attack the
Yep.
ball. You know what I'm talking about?
Walk in the box.
Yeah. They come game, they take like 2 or 3 shuffles, and I've said, to me, I think that'd be a harder thing, at least for me, playing higher, because these knuckleballs move, and when you're shuffling your feet, you're committed to a pitch location, and then it moves, and then I almost feel you're committed. Have you ever had that discussion with anybody with shuffling, or what's your thought about shuffling in the box?
We've got one guy here, John Livingston. We call him Stones. He's about 6'6". Mm-hmm. He starts deep in the box, and he walks the box all the time. And he and I have had some discussions with him because he's now 60 years old. All right. And I think as a young hitter, I don't like it because when you're moving, your head's moving. When your head's moving, your eyes are moving. So the information you're taking in gets distorted. I'm a firm believer in keeping your head still. All right. Taking in the data, the spin on the pitch, the height of the pitch, the speed of the pitch. Your eyes take in all that data. Your brain processes that data, sends an impulse to the hands, and miraculously the hands take the barrel to the ball. Hitting a baseball or softball is an incredible thing. All right. It's done unconsciously. You don't have time to consciously analyze everything that's happening. Well, that's a knuckleball. First of all, knuckleball has no path. All right. It's going to move because of the air pockets that it's heading through. All right. That knuckleball has no pattern that it's going to go. All right. So if you've got a ball moving and now your head's moving, wow. I mean, you're taking a chance at being able to square that ball up and hit it where you want to hit it. Okay. Yeah. So I just don't. And then as he's getting older, I keep telling him, Stones, when you were 40, 45, walking in the box was probably not a problem to you. But now as you're getting a little bit older, all right, your timing might be off a little bit. I just think it's a detriment to be moving around in the box. Mm-hmm. If it was easy and a good thing to do, a lot more people would be doing it. Okay. Now, some people love it, and I like it. And sometimes they're moving to make the pitch what they want. Okay. They're moving way up so they can get a high pitch, or their movement is not only forward, but it's towards the board if it's an outside pitch. I get that. They're trying to compensate a little bit. I just think it makes it harder as a hitter if you're moving around in the box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that. And I like that information that you're sharing. I mean, even fielding the ball, when your head and eyes moving the ball, your mechanics can get thrown off. And I know as a hitter, it's the same idea. Because I share with some hitters, I go, you got this low stance, but as you're coming to attacking the ball, your head's moving up. Yeah. So what's the ball doing? Your mechanics and how you process, the information you're processing.
Well, your brain sees it at one angle, and now you change the angle. So you're changing the information. You know what I mean? The impulse for your hands to go here. Now you just moved forward, or you just moved, in a little bit, and you've changed the dynamics. The impulse has already been set. It's already been set. Hands are already going somewhere, and now you just change the launch angle or the direction because you move. It's the same thing with lungers, hitters that lunge out on their front foot. All right. You start moving forward while the ball's moving back. You've got to try to intersect. It's you're tougher on yourself. The more movement you have in the box, I think the tougher it is.
Yeah, man. And you know what I love about this? We're getting pretty deep and intellectual here, man. I love it. Because what for instantly set in my mind when I was going to tell our viewers is like, you see ball in A zone, you follow with A swing. That is, the A letter swing.
Yep.
But when you move, the pitch went from A zone to Z zone, but you're swinging the A zone because that's how you reacted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I talk about eye-hand coordination, and either you got it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Eye-hand coordination is huge. All right, and
Yeah.
some of the best game, that, and any of your good hitters, don't challenge your good hitters to a game of ping pong.
Mm.
All right, because you're probably pretty darn good at ping pong as well.
Yeah.
All right, eye-hand coordination can be practiced, and I recommend ping pong to people. I said, you want to work on it, just think about ping pong. You're hitting balls and your head's not even moving. You here and your hand goes over there and hits it back over the table, and then you go here. So your eyes are taking in that data, all right?
Mm-hmm.
They're moving to the ball. So ping pong is a great game to play. Even this pickleball craze that's going on, all right? Not a bad deal. All right, you're working in paddleball or pickleball, you start getting some balls where, another great way to practice your eye-hand coordination. Juggling is also another good way to do it. If you learn to juggle, all right, because when you juggle, you don't really watch each ball go up and down. You kind of see the whole picture. Your brain processes what's going on. I could look you in the eyes, Leroy, and juggle while I'm looking you in the eyes. My peripheral sees the balls, and my hands go to where that ball is. You don't toss every ball the same way. You have to adjust sometimes. So juggling is another way to work on your eye-hand coordination. All right, playing two ball. Remember playing two ball as a kid? You get in a circle while you're waiting on a rain delay, and you throw two balls at the teammate, and they have to catch one in one hand and one in the other. That's a great game to play. So while you're sitting around waiting for that game to end, down the left field line, you're waiting for that to end ahead of you, get four guys in a circle and play two ball. And all you're doing there is you're working on your eye-hand coordination. So there are ways to improve your eye-hand coordination. Some people are born with it, but there are ways to improve your eye-hand coordination. And that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Huge part.
And the key number, folks, 10,000 reps.
Or 2,000.
Here's another one I want to ask you. And like, to me, it's basically, what kind of advice would you give a guy? 'Cause everybody stands in a different location in the box. Some are really off the plate, some are close to the plate, some are in between, some are behind, some are in the front. Like yourself, I saw in the video, I like to get the ball where I can cut it easier, like hitting off a batting tee. But I know with my swing, I'm kind of almost in the middle of the box, so I can hit it more line to line. But what suggestion would you give to somebody, in regards to where's a good spot to stand in the box?
Here's the crazy thing about senior softball and having that mat, okay? That strike zone's there. You know where it is. It doesn't move, okay? So I think it's a huge advantage. I'm a pitcher, all right? Brad Stillwell was my shortstop for 5-6 years, one of the best in the country, all right? So Brad's over there at shortstop, and he's saying, hey, Obi, pitch him inside. Pitch him inside. I said, Brad, he's 10 feet off the board. I can't pitch him inside, all right? He's off the board so far that every pitch that's going to hit the board is middle or away, all right? So the hitter has the advantage by where you stand in the box, all right? So here's what I tell people to do. When I step up, and when I step up to play, I look around, and I look for two places to hit the ball. Two places, not just one. I don't pick out one hole, I pick out two, all right? And they're usually close together. I'm not going to say, well, I got left field line and right field line. That's a little too wide, all right? But I'm going to pick two spots that are somewhere close together. And then I'm going to stand according to what I saw. If I saw left field line and left center gap, I'm going to get closer to the board. So now I've just made every pitch he throws middle or in, right? I know you like to stand off the board a little bit. When I get up there and we're facing a 5-man infield and 3 outfielders, it's a buffet for us, isn't it?
Right.
You look at see line is open,
Yeah.
gap is open, and line is open. I mean, a three-man outfield, that's 400 feet they're trying to cover from foul pole to foul pole. They
Yeah.
can't cover the ground. So a good hitter gets up there against a five-man infield and three outfielders and smiles. I smile when I see it because there's just a lot of gaps. But I'll pick out two of them, and then I'll stand according to which ones I'm going to. So if I see gap and gap, I'm going to get off the plate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So now every pitch is middle for me. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the pitch that's on the inner half of the board, I hit to left center. If it's on the outer half of the board, I hit it to right center. All right? So I'm not taking an outside pitch and trying to pull it. I'm not taking an inside pitch and forcing it to right field. So it's all about hitting the ball where it's pitched, right? Making a good pitch, forcing balls somewhere. So sometimes when we just pick one hole, Leroy, we force pitches, especially when you get two strikes on you.
Definitely.
So I pick out spots and I let the pitch dictate which one I go to.
I mean, it's so crazy. I mean, there's so many things that you're sharing here, and I love it talking to different people about hitting because you're saying the same thing I've said in different ways. I'm always looking for two outlets. Sometimes I know when I may change myself a little bit in the box, I try to be deceitful. You know, my same approach going in the box. Because some guys, I've seen them in the box. Oh, there's that hole. You see them do this. Or they go out. And I'm a defensive player. I'm like, dude, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So me, I'll go outside, take that stance. I'm giving a secret. And then I get in the box a little deceitful, looking like I'm in the same spot. But sometimes allowing that 6-7 inches back to the 6-7 in makes a difference. But to the average guy, I don't look like I'm in a different spot, man.
And
I mean, the game's so wonderful. It's chess.
Yeah, and that's fine. And sometimes your catcher will say it. Crowd the plate, way off the plate, way up in the box.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's fine because as soon as he says that, we can move, can't we? We can inch forward or we can inch back.
Yeah.
All right? So I like to move, what I tell people is half of a shoe. I'll start in a neutral position, and then if I see that I want to pull it, I'll move half of a shoe closer. It's not real obvious to everybody or anybody, all right? But I've just made it. I didn't go a whole step closer because that becomes obvious. Hey, he's crowding the plate. I bet you he's trying to pull the ball. I get it. But that's, and you're an intelligent guy, and that's what you can do to the defense is you can change. But you're in control as a hitter. You're in control of whatever pitch you want. You like high pitches? Move closer to the pitcher. You like short pitches? Move closer to the catcher. Now, every pitch that hits the board is going to be a little bit short. But here's what I do to you, all right? And here's what some guys do at our level, because I know people are actually hitting balls to a certain place. They're aiming for spots because that's what an 800 hitter does. You can't hit 800 by just getting lucky. I'm just going to hit it hard. Well, everybody, you should be able to hit every ball hard in softball, all right? It's underhand. So you can't just hit it hard. You've got to have an idea. You got to have a spot to go. But here's what I'm going to do, Leroy. I'm going to show you a hole, whether it's third or middle. So when you're looking around, I'm going to show you that hole. But when that pitch leaves the pitcher's hand, I'm scooting over on you, and I'm taking that hole away.
What?
And I know
that's how I got my nickname.
You do.
I got my nickname DI when I was younger. Third base, I used to play possum a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I would just sit on the line like a dummy, and the guys that I know like going left center or over, I would just set up that 5-6, and I played possum. And then on the pitch, I read the swing, and I crash holes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, we got this connection that we didn't even know we got.
Well, that's how you get good hitters out.
Yes, you got to take chances, right?
On the good hitters, because they'll hit it wherever they want.
Definitely.
You're just not if you give them a hole and don't take that hole away. So here's what when we're playing the fat boys or somebody really good, here's what I tell my infielders to do. None of them listen to me, but here's how you here's how you're a good hitter. I say, listen, all of you, don't finish where you start.
Right.
When I let the ball go, move 2 steps to your left or 2 steps to your right. just move around, because that good hitter has picked out his spot and he's going to hit it there. So if everybody moves, what would that do to you, knowing that, holy cow, all 5 infielders moved one way or the other, and they don't go the same way on every pitch? What would that do to you as a hitter? It's kind of like, oh boy, I don't know where they're going, so I'm not sure which hole I'm going to hit it to. Now I'm going to revert back to, all right, I'm just going to hit it hard and try to get lucky again.
Yeah, I mean, that's so crazy, man. Jesus, Paul, we're a lot more alike than I thought. I have so many guys I play with don't want to even try. I go, the guy's hitting 800, standing every time where you stand. Let's change it up and let's see his skills. But no, reading the ball, crashing the ball. I tell infielders, if you're in the same spot every game, a hitter like me, this is like hitting BP with my cones. My cones don't move. I already got that dialed in, So make me cut the ball over the infielder's head, and that's a high percentage shot that's very hard to get, opposed to just dribbling one in a hole. Oh my God, man, Bob, we could probably go on hours on all this strategic stuff besides the hitting, man.
Here's another one that I would think, Leroy.
Okay.
A lot of times that 5th infielder, that middle guy chooses one side or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a right-hander, most of the time my 5th infielder is going to get off on my right shoulder. And then they're asking me 50 feet away from a hitter with a senior bat and a hard ball, they're asking me to jump into the only hole in the infield, okay? Here's what I would do. I would start with my 5th man right behind me. And I want my 5th man reading the pitch.
Yes.
If I have a pitch on the outer half of the board, I'd love for my middle guy to slide left. If I throw a pitch on the inside part of the board to a righty, I'd love for my middle guy to slide right. And then if he and I could be on the same page, what I would say is, I want you to move to the side where the ball is being pitched, and I'm going to go to the opposite side. So if we set up like this, when I throw you a pitch, and one time this way and another time we go this way, that's going to mess with a good hitter, especially someone that still likes to go middle, even with a 5-man infield. So I wish that middle guy would read the pitch more often and just go to the side, that the pitch is going to. That would be a great strategy, but I don't see anybody doing it.
I preach a lot of that stuff. I've been yelled at as a 5-man. Pick a side, pick a side. I guess I got the 6th sense. I could read the ball at the bat and the angle and the trajectory, and I understand that part. I guess that's just a 6th sense not everybody has. But, I've said that before, to make your pitcher cover a hole being 50 to 60 feet away with these bats and these balls, you're nuts. Usually when I play second base, if I know the hitter's more of a pull side hitter, I think the second baseman should be covering that middle hole and cut the shack off some of these first basemen's ankles and get them off the line.
Yeah.
And let's see if this dead pull hitter can slap or pepper a ball down the first base line, which you don't see.
Yeah.
Defense, that's how you stop good hitters. 2 things I want to share, and I agree with you on a good hitter. If they're seeing what you're talking about, a lot of good hitters, you're going to make them think, because good hitters don't like making outs. Now they're like, okay, all that stuff. And then, all those little things just to get, that's the way you get good hitters out. And one thing I am as a hitter, I don't talk to the catcher ever. I caught myself a couple of times, I knew the guy, damn it. I go, got me out of my game. Because this game, you got to be so focused and dialed in. A little conversation, at least for me, can throw me off. So I'm not rude when I play, but I understand some people want to have those conversations to get your intensity level from here to down here.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Bob, we're going to have to sit down one day and just talk during the game, man, because I'm enjoying this stuff right here. Well, you said this, and I told people, I think when they're slumping and stuff, I hear people say, just hit the ball hard, just swing hard. And I tell people, to me, I consider that desperation. If you're doing your BP, you're doing your work, I always think good hitters figure those little things out to break them out of slumps. But what is some advice you would tell somebody during a tournament, having a slump, or maybe a couple of tournament slump? What are some things you may share?
Ron Fraser used to say this a long time ago. He said, slumps are followed by streaks, and streaks are followed by slumps. It's going to happen, right? You got to understand it. You just want your streaks to be longer than your slumps. All right, so how do you get out of a slump? I have a 6-2-2 rule, Leroy. And this I had to develop for myself because my goal is to go to Vegas and not make an out.
Mm-hmm.
All right? How great would that be to go 26 for 26 without making an out? Is that a realistic goal?
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's tough.
All right. So what usually happens is after my first out, that next at bat becomes huge. And if I let it snowball, all right, if I let it snowball into my next at bat, it could turn into 2 outs in a row. All right. So I came up with a 6-2-2 rule. Out of 10 at bats, Leroy, I am going to get on base 6 times, whether it's a hit or a walk. Okay. I am going to make 2 outs. Once I came to that realization that I'm going to make 2 outs every 10 at bats, still makes me an 800 hitter, maybe, all right, which is all tournament, right?
Right.
800 tournament at a 800 average at a tournament, you're on the all tournament team. That's a good number.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So once I realized that it's okay, I just hit a pitch rod right at the shortstop. All right. I hit it good, but he caught it. It's okay. Don't let it snowball and fester. Once I started accepting that, all right, I'm going to make 2 outs every 10 at bats and still be an 800 hitter. That's pretty darn good. All right. Now, 6, I'm going to get on 6. I'm going to make 2 outs. It's the other 2 at bats, Leroy, that make us All-American or a 600 hitter. All right. Two times, Leroy, you're going to have to get lucky. You're going to mishit a ball that's going to fall. All right. Or somebody's going to make an error and you're going to get on. It's those 2 at bats that make you, that is the difference between a 600 hitter and an 800 hitter. So accept that you're going to get 6 hits at our level. You're going to make 2 outs, but make the best of those other 2. All right. And that's how you become an 800 hitter. Don't fret when you make an out. What if you made 2 outs in a row? How do you feel going into that next at bat? Even good confidence is down a little bit, and you just a little bit harder. But if you accept the fact that, okay, there's my 2, all right, now I've got to go chase my 6, all right, ain't going to get lucky. I'm going to shoot me a lawn dart once in a while, or I'm just going to miss-hit a ball, and it's going to fall in. And that's my 6-2-2 philosophy, and that's helped me because my ultimate goal is to go 26 for 26, 30 for 30 in a tournament. Have I done it yet? No. All right. 27, 28 for 30, sure. That's a great weekend.
Yeah.
On that all the time. So anyway, it's a mental game that you have to play with yourself. You got to get in there, and then the other thing is to treat each at bat all by itself. All right. Don't think about your last at bat. All right, whether it was a hitter or not. Every at bat is in itself. The conditions have changed. The situation has changed. All right, so I know on TV they always say you got to simplify the game, 1 pitch at a time, 1 at bat at a time. But sometimes you really do. You just got to get in there and focus a little bit more. And then I have to tell myself sometimes, Leroy, I got to tell myself to concentrate, especially on Sunday. All right, you've played Friday, you've played Saturday, you got 6 games in. All right, you get in the box, it's just another at bat. And sometimes I find myself just not focusing enough on that last day. I just let my muscle memory take over and I go, all right, and I find myself, that's the biggest day. You're playing on Sunday, right? You're down to 2-3 teams. Those are the biggest at bats. So you can't get complacent because you've played all weekend. You're feeling good about yourself. You're 22 for 25. You're cruising right along. All right. I think the farther in the weekend you get, the more you got to concentrate. and
Mhm.
you're saying it there. You're not even going to talk to the catcher. You're going to get in there and focus and get in. A lot of guys don't. They get in the box and it's just another at bat. It's not just another at bat. It is this at bat right now. Focus, concentrate just a little bit more on the inside part of the ball, the bottom of the ball, whatever it
Mhm.
is you're trying to do. Turn that focus up a little bit.
I agree with you. And I think, that mindset gets along when you start playing with guys who've experienced success, not just as an individual basis in the box, but also as a team. Because I think that thing is, everybody feeds off that stuff. And I know my concentration level goes to another, actually every day, Sundays, your pre-games and yeah. But every one it gets going, I get a little bit more focused. But going to your 6-2-2 rule, I do something similar to that in BP. My last 5 swings, I always want to know I have 5 balls left. And I tell people, with those 5 balls, I want to make sure I get 3 good hits. Anything after that is plus. Because if I'm 3 for 5 at 600, I'm still in the hunt. Because I could have a 4 for 4 game. Next day, I'm well over 7. But I know for me, the anxiety level, breathing through your nose, pre-pitch, pre-at-bat, calms the nerves. That's more baseball stuff. But I like the 62 approach because I think for hitters to be successful is them not pressing, understanding they are going to make it out, and have it a realistic goal with the acceptance, that small acceptance of failure. And I think that carries in a game to keep the intensity level, the anxiety levels down. And I think that's part of this game because this is an emotional game.
Yeah.
So, I love that approach, that you're sharing in regards to a tournament and the long haul, man. It's good stuff, Bob. I can tell you went to school and did a lot of coaching there, man.
The realistic goal is the key. All right. Again, it would be great to go 28 for 28 on a weekend, but that's not realistic. All
Mm-hmm.
right. That's like taking the mound every day in baseball and expecting to throw a perfect game. Do perfect
Mm-hmm.
happen? Yes. But how often do they happen? All right. Not real often. But you get yourself into a zone as a hitter and you're feeling good about stuff and you're hitting everything, it gets rolling. And that's when you do want it to snowball. You
Mm-hmm.
feel success from that last at bat. But when you do make it out, Skip Bertman was one of the best. Skip
Mm-hmm.
me before I got there, and then he ended up at LSU. Skip Bertman would have a little portable toilet that he
Uh-huh.
would put in the dugout. And anytime one of his players did something wrong, an error, did something bad, struck out with the bases loaded, he'd make them go to the toilet, and it had you push the button and flush the toilet, and it had a flushing sound and everything. All right. So what he was telling the guys to do is something bad just happened, flush it down the toilet, get rid of it. Don't let it
Yeah.
stink. Don't let it stink up the dugout. Flush it down the toilet, put it behind you. Don't take that at bat or that air to the field with you or to your next at bat. So I like that, philosophy. Just get rid of it. It's okay. You made it out. You're human. All right. Flush it down the toilet and let's move forward.
You guys listen out there. You guys are getting some top-notch free education here. I love that analogy, flush it down. The way I was taught, I learned is just great players have bad memories. Just forget about what happened. That's the way I learned it. But I think flushing it, is a kinesthetic way for somebody to actually accept something that occurred and moving forward because you're thinking about it. But, doing something like that with the sound actually kind of, reinforces what you're actually trying to do as an athlete or as a coach,
Yeah.
man. Good
Yeah.
stuff here, man.
Thanks.
So I want to go back to these camps that you do with Alan Tyler. Um, so when you guys started the camps and he asked you to come, did you guys have the same approach, or did you have some discussions in regards to what you want to tell, the people coming out and stuff, or how did that come about?
We are Batman and Robin. All right. We are sidekick. He knows when to interject. He has his strengths. Okay. I have my strengths. I let him lead on some topics. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And I interject. He lets me lead on other topics and then he interjects. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's Batman and Robin. All right, we could finish each other's sentences. We've done this so many times, but it's all good stuff. He is Alan used to be a triathlete. Right?
Oh.
So he's into the nutrition and stretching and taking care of the body and the whole 9 yards. So he really excels on that stuff. He's also a bat geek. He is involved in the technology and of putting a good bat together and all of that good stuff. So he's got some of those strengths. And then I come from the coaching world and I have my strengths. And we're able to put, in 3 days, we're able to put a really good topic, a good camp together, because we've got, I do the pitchers, he does the outfielders, I'll take the infielders when we do our position courses. So we've got all of that covered. All right. We're a little bit he really keeps his head down real well when he hits. His swing he's a little bit shorter than me, fast twitch kind of guy, where I'm the tall, fat guy that uses leverage. So, we have 2 different ways to hit a softball when we do a little demo for the hitters, so they get to see 2 different styles of it. He'll talk about the nutrition part. I mean, we're able to really to put a good program together. And again, we've done it. And now sometimes we have to have somebody watching the clock, because we get into it and we love to talk and give stories to back our point.
Yeah.
We do scientific stuff, but make it simple for people to understand it. And then I encourage people to ask why. Don't do it because I told you to do. If you don't understand why I'm asking you to do it, don't be afraid to say, hey, coach, why do I need to do that? Why do I need to get my back elbow down? Why do I need to get my back elbow up? Whatever it is we're asking you to do. So you understand you're not doing it just because we said to do it. I want you to know why we're doing this, because we're not going to be around all the time. All right. You need to understand why. You need to know why this is happening, because for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you got to understand, if getting the elbow up with my pitchers, high elbow equals low strikes, low elbow equals high balls. All right. So there's a reason if somebody's missing high in the zone, or if you're the shortstop and you're throwing it over the first baseman's head more than hitting them, there might be a reason. It's because your elbow's a little bit low. So you got to understand, if this, then that is another expression we use. If this, then that. If you do this, then that happens. So if you throw with a low elbow, you're going to tend to throw the ball high. All right. If you throw with your elbow too high, you'll tend to throw it into the dirt. So when we teach, we like to teach the whys. Why is this happening? So they can fix it themselves later.
Yeah. Bob, man, I'm kind of out of time here. We're jumping into the JVI show, and you probably get upset with me, but that's okay, because great stuff. Bob, I'm going to have you come on again, man, and us just have a chat. Actually, maybe next time I actually see you at a tournament, I think I'm going to put her down and just sit down and just chat rapid. I love those conversations, but I do want to thank you for coming on, especially being on in Florida, which you're after 11 o'clock, so I'm cutting into your Johnny Carson time or something like that right now. But
no problem.
Yeah, so before I let you go, anything else you'd like to shout out there for anybody or anything?
Just listen, mutual respect. I know we've battled on the field before, and I see it. And JBI is another one. He competes as well as anybody. And hell, Johnny Bailey and Dennis Ruley over there and all those JK Inc. teams and now the Fat Boys. I mean, much respect for what's going on in California. You guys play the game right. You play it hard. All right. We know that when we cross over the Mississippi River, we're going to have some battles when we get out there. I look forward to Vegas every year because we get to see you guys and the California teams and the Arizona teams and the Texas teams. I mean, there's good talent all over the country. And it's unfortunate we don't get to play each other more often. But just know we respect what you guys are doing over there. And we look forward to the battles, because we know we're going to have to get after it if we're going to beat one of them California teams. So just know that it's mutual. On the field, we're going to gonna stare each other down, and we're
Yeah.
gonna. But just know that there is some mutual respect out there. So keep doing what you guys are doing, man.
Yeah, I appreciate. Well, you know, it's between the lines. Between the lines, our game faces come out. We just want to compete. I always tell people, don't judge who I am, because I can get very intense, obviously. But between the lines, I'm different off the lines. I think a lot of guys are like that.
Yes,
It's
we
what
are.
we do between the lines.
Yes.
But I also echo your sentiments, because I know for myself, when I'm talking about, you know, fortunately being able to play, you know, with the 50 USA team out there a couple times, and Curtis and stuff, and getting to know more of you players out on the East Coast with the FBIs, the Suncoast, the deluxe bakeries and stuff. And every time Vegas, I go, hey, man, we may have 7 or 8 major plus teams, but there's no slouches out here, man. You got to come to play. And the team that maybe has, you know, sometimes it just comes with those little things that you didn't do. Home run management, a little hustle, reading it right is the difference in these great games. But like I said, much respect to you and all those great ball players out there, Stillwell or many of them, man. But I'd like to thank you for coming out, and we're going to have to meet up again.
One thing real quick. My YouTube page, where you can go and check out a lot of our videos, it's OBTV. OBTV is my YouTube channel. I've got about 38 videos on there right now. So if you enjoyed some of the stuff that we're talking about, go check those out. All right. They're there for people to take in, learn as much as you can from them. We got all different topics and categories. So OBTV. And then, of course, I guess there's that subscribe button and all that good stuff. So you'll know when the video gets put out. So check it out. And Leroy, we will see you on the field here soon somewhere.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to just, before I turn off today, I was going to actually go to one of the little videos out there. I'll let the people out here, if you want to get much more great information, intellectual, the between the years side information to help you go to another level. I'm going to show them your webpage right now on YouTube, Bob. But
all right.
Once again, much respect. Thank you, and enjoy yourself and take care, huh?
Leroy, see you, buddy.
Take care, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. So there you go. We had Bob Obrien. Man, you know, what I've always liked having these podcasts that I'm able to talk to different people. Like, you know, when you compete against different guys for years and stuff, but it's like I get to see a different side and get to know a guy differently just by doing these interviews, as I did with Johnny Bailey, Flip Washington, Mark DiCicco. I mean, so many different people. And Bob, I compete with them. I know he's a great hitter, great pitcher, very smart guy, you know, between the years kind of guy player. But just talking to him here and just knowing that we have similar views is just crazy. But, you know, we have a baseball background, collegiate background, as well as, you know, the levels that we're playing in senior softball. But I want to show you one of his, actually, I'm just going to kind of flip through here. So if you want more information and stuff, what I always type is Bob Obrien softball. And as he was saying right here, if you want to like his page, you have right here OBTV. Just type up Bob Obrien softball. But from here, you know, Worth Pro Bob hitting tips, hitting demo, talking about the hands, preparation, hitting tips, T drill, which I was hoping to talk to him about, but we didn't. But, you know, T is a big integral part if you don't have someone to throw you BP. How to add. But this is the one I think a lot of people should take the time, the mental side of softball. So I want to thank you all for coming on tonight. I'm sorry that we had some dysfunction prior to you know, our interview, but we got it in. Please share, like, and tell people about the chat we had, and do all the connection, man. So before you go off, playing another song by one of my favorite bands out here, which is Cash Out.
You've been in for quite some time. I'm guessing that you know by now.
We'll have these tomorrow.
Look what we got so far. We